Gorgeous scene here in West Denver. We are on the west side of the metropolitan area in Denver, Colorado. The stakes, well, they're real high. It's go time. We are in the 5A 2016 postseason now for Preps Lacrosse in the state of Colorado. And what a great matchup we had ahead of us as we approach what will be a start in the daylight, and we'll finish things up in nighttime here on the west side. It'll be the Wheat Ridge Farmers against the Mullen Mustangs, two mid-seas getting after each other, old schools within the town and the metro area, and two great lacrosse programs. Coming up, the Farmers against the Mustangs here on Stream It Sports. Springtime, ready for war here at De La Salle Stadium in Denver, Colorado. You see the two combatants this evening. It'll be the Mullen Mustangs, the host squad, sitting at 9-6 in their regular season record against the Wheat Ridge Farmers on the road, just coming down southward a little bit, sitting at 8-7 with their overall record. A couple of programs who are aggressive in their scheduling, so you might at first glance have a perception that, you know, these are middling squads and programs here in the state of Colorado. Not the case. Because of that aggressive scheduling, they played everybody, each of these squads. Of course, the big key is no excuses in the sport of lacrosse or any sport in general. You got to beat people too, but we do take note that both Mullen and Wheat Ridge have played a lot of the elites in the state of Colorado and also beyond our borders in the box state. Let's start with the host squad, the Mullen Mustangs, who are, again, having this event here on their field, a private school with their own turf. And you see how beautiful it looks out there on the field at De La Salle Stadium. We got a nice night where the temperature's sitting at about 49 degrees right now. There is a chilly breeze because we've had rain for the last couple of days here, and clouds reign above us. It may become a possibility. Who knows? We'll hope for the best. I know this, regardless of the weather, all those tough guys out there, they will continue to play unless someone says they cannot. 5A Lacrosse, first round playoffs featuring the Mullen Mustangs, 9-6 overall, coming out of the Centennial League under head coach Kevin O'Brien, his first year as the head of the program. The Mullen Mustangs started off the season with a win in Game 1 over the Wheat Ridge Farmers, their opponent today in postseason round 1, but that was back on March 12th. To quote Kevin O'Brien, he says it's totally different. May recognize some players, numbers, and some jerseys, but his squad has evolved a lot, and that would also apply to Wheat Ridge. Wheat Ridge Farmers, 8-7 overall. They come out of the Front Range Conference under head coach Christ Knott, one of the fine ambassadors for the sport of lacrosse in the state of Colorado. His 12th year as the head of the Farmers. They have a 2013 4A championship, now competing in Class 5A. Again, 8-7 is the Farm as they look to take on this Mullen Mustangs squad in a very tasty matchup as we checked out the brackets. We'll go ahead and take a break as we await the national anthem, and then we'll come back for playoff lacrosse on Stream It Sports. return to Denver, west side of the metro area, getting ready for Class 5A first round playoff action here at De La Salle Stadium. If you want to connect with us, see lower left-hand side at Stream It Sports. I'm at Marty Cesario. If you want to discover us and engage on the Twitter, we've already put out a couple of interesting things. Interesting content involving hair flow. Hashtag. Appreciate you joining us for this excellent matchup on paper in the brackets. In all anticipation, I think will be justified as we progress through 4 quarters of the Lacs, as these two great programs are going to get after each other. It's the Mullen Mustangs and the Wheat Ridge Farmers live here on Stream It Sports. Partially introduce myself, Marty Cesario. I'll be on the call along with Phil Mildren, the executive producer, Jeremy Davies upstairs in the weather and giving you these beautiful visuals. Alex Wines involved in technical direction as we get ready for the opening face-off of this game. Visual setup, as you see, center X. We just get underway. Ground ball pickup, nicely done by Mullen for a moment. That was Buck Thinnell, and then a big battle for the ground ball. Let's set you up visually in the white with the gold lids. That's the Mullen Mustangs, the host team. Wearing the dark jerseys and helmets, those are the Farmers from Wheat Ridge. As left to right, getting set up in the attacking zone, that is Mullen. Evan Burgett hopping around, and then eventually the yield and give to the very talented Mikey Pryor. Both those gentlemen we will talk about throughout the entire broadcast. Pryor working the right wing and eventually gives to X position, and now Mullen being, well, for a moment there, being patient, working it around by design under head coach Kevin O'Brien, but then an unforced error out of bounds and going to shag it down as one of the long stickmen of the Wheat Ridge Farmers. Mason Markham is the goaltender right there with the ball and pushing the ball up towards center line as Wheat Ridge tries to clear. 8-7 Wheat Ridge against 9-6 Mullen here in the Class 5A state playoffs. One of the, I think, thrilling parts of the playoff system put together by the Colorado High School Activities Association is, as of yesterday when brackets were announced, or pardon me, Monday, 2 days ago, it begins a 13-day march to get to the stadium that Peyton Manning used to play at. As you see, shot on goal, very nice save by Tristan Scott, the junior. And the Mustangs are going to keep it and try to eventually clear. Scott will help out his D-men. Another missed exchange on the pass, but there's no harm there as Mullen pushes it upfield with Nicholas Fenwick. Fenwick does a nice job on the clear, and now the offense will set up in the opposing zone. That is Mullen in white. The Mustangs with the ball, traveling with it is Ali Breitenwischer. For the second possession in a row, Mullen initially advances on the right wing, and now you see Kevin O'Brien's offense kind of working the ball around. Short threat for Aaron Boyd, picked up nicely defensively by Justin Kehoe. Good dodge there. And a shot on goal. Mason Markham picks it up and makes a save for Wheat Ridge. Long clear, and here's Wheat Ridge on the run. Pass to the center slot. Excellent job defensively by Mullen to get back into the play. Drake Gillis, which forces Wheat Ridge to set up. So back there in the blue jerseys, Zach Hall, a talented attackman. Across this way and underneath us, Reagan Devine. And now the Farm will work it around on what is their first lengthy possession here in this first quarter. We've just gotten underway, about 3.5 minutes in, no score. Shot, and an attempt low is picked up nicely. Good vision with another save. That's Tristan Scott. Goaltenders dialed in early on. Appropriate to note that because this will be one of those situations here in the spring in Colorado. 7 o'clock start. They will begin in the sunshine. We will finish in the dark. You can see the shadows on the right-hand corner at the bottom of your screen. As Mullen advances forward, that's Ollie again. And back over to Brock Alford and work it around. This is the offense we should expect from Mullen if they're doing well. Ask Coach O'Brien, what's it look like if you're in system? As we see an attempt coming up front, there's a save with the right shin of Mason Markham. Mullen's going to keep it. Coach O'Brien says if you see a lot of off-ball movement, on-ball picks, and balls getting out of sticks quickly, that means the Mustangs are entirely in system. So even right here, working solo and isolated with the dodge, that might be an anomaly for what you normally see from Mullen when they're playing well offensively. Good job getting in the way, and then Wheatridge gets the ground ball. Some nice defense there by Connor Carefa, and here comes a shot from the long stickman, a bounce attempt, and that's picked up once again. A third save unofficially for Tristan Scott. That shot from Tyler Wagner, the captain, by the way, who will eventually play MCLA ball for Colorado State University after he graduates. Meanwhile, 0-0. And we are 5 minutes plus into this first quarter at De La Salle Stadium on the campus of Mullen High School. First round action, Class 5A lacrosse. The entire state in this classification has begun the march this evening. Mullen with the ball in white, near side, Aaron Boyd. Looking for that sidearm whip, not going to happen. Some good defense from the backside. I believe that was Trey Sayers, 28, yes. Doing a nice job on the attackman. No threat on the shot, coming the way of Mason Markham, who has the ball right now, the goaltender for the Wheat Ridge Farmers. Aggressive play by Markham, coming up into two attackmen near center line, and it forces a quick whistle, and I believe we have a timeout. I mentioned Mason Markham, the goaltender for Wheat Ridge. An interesting note with him, just, jiving with him, chopping it up, and he offered this. He said, I'm ready for this because last week, which was a thrilling 10-9 loss to Front Range champion Columbine, said that was his first night game of the season. So coming off of that game into this evening, it actually helps him out with his vision. So far, Markham and Tristan Scott for Mullen have done a real nice job as we overlook and kind of get that zoom in and eavesdrop shot of Chris Knott and his Wheat Ridge Farmers. Chris Knott is at the bottom of your screen, walking right to left in the bottom left-hand corner. Big fan of Chris Knott, again, 12th year as he's barking orders. Thought for a moment to one of his players. Now there's an issue with one of the sticks. It would be Zach Hall's stick. They're trying to make a decision, and now it will be a penalty violation. So that's why Chris Knott's reaction you just witnessed. Zach Hall on one knee. This will be a man-up situation after the timeout for the Mullen Mustangs. A lot happened during the timeout, and we're going to come out with it with the guys in the white jerseys, the Mullen Mustangs, a man advantage situation. Looking for that shot attempt. There's a nice save by Mason Markham. Can Wheat Ridge get out of it? Yes. Looking to clear, being pressed aggressively. Back to Markham behind his cage. Like that aggressive defense by the forwards, the attackmen of Mullen. And Wheat Ridge having a difficult time getting across center line. Eventually do, and here they come on the run. So the farm will set up as retreating for Wheat Ridge is Justin Kehoe. Right on cue, I threw out a tweet earlier today about Justin Kehoe saying last game I did with him, he didn't score a point, but I talked about him the entire game because he's always so involved. Hashtag workforce. The farm in the dark jerseys have possession for a moment. And a nice piece of defensive work. Crowd reacts. Luke Knockhazel knocks the ball and the stick out of the hands of one of the attackmen, and the Mustangs are going to get possession. Under 5 to play here in the first quarter at De La Salle Stadium in Denver. First round, Class 5A. Two old schools, pedigree programs looking to advance in the playoffs. There's a shot. It appeared to be a whiff, not the case. Excellent defense on the part of, I think it was Dante Lombardi from the backside, trying to read those dark numerals. It was Lombardi with his long stick, able to disrupt the shot from Brock Alford. Meanwhile, the clear, Wheat Ridge coming across right to left on your monitor. We appreciate you checking in from whatever type of screen you're using, by the way. Stream It Sports, bring you mobile, tablet, PC, ColecoVision, as long as it's dialed up with Wi-Fi. More good defense. Eventually, Tristan Scott got it. Now ground ball and picking it up is Justin Kehoe, of course. Leads the squad in ground balls. And Kehoe's going to set up the offense, number 19, far side. And a toss this way to Reagan Devine, who will play next level next year at Rockhurst University in Missouri, Kansas City area. So much talent out on the field. I actually was compelled earlier today. I joke it's my show prep kind of veering, my creative brain taking a right turn. Put out a graphic showing all the next level players that are involved in this game. Shot coming, hits the face mask. Tristan Scott with a save using his noggin. And a flag down on the field as we hustle to get back into the play. The shot attempt coming off the stick of, is that a 2-6? Once he makes his spin. And I'll try to get a read down below us. It will be a man advantage. You can see one man kneeling for Mullen. So man up is Wheat Ridge. After the advance and shot attempt coming from Reagan Devine, he gets nailed. The whistle blows, and now Wheat Ridge is a man up. Under 3 minutes to play here in the first quarter, no score. Shot from the middle, bounce attempt. Again, that's not a case of where it was an errant shot. It was more backside defense. I believe it may have been Jake Reed with a long stick disrupting the shot. Looking below me off camera, still a man down one knee. Wheat Ridge remains in the man advantage situation here in a 0-0 lacrosse game. Farmer's going to take a little bit of time here. Patient. Behind the cage, back up top, here comes the shot, and that's a score. Dan O'Connor finds the twine. First one on the board, Wheat Ridge with a 1-0 lead. Somewhere on the Wheat Ridge sideline, there's a gentleman who knows a little bit about the Lacs. Coach Pat O'Connor, part of the Wheat Ridge staff, very happy. His son just scored. Dan O'Connor at 2:21 in the first quarter. Man up, able to get the score on the board for Wheat Ridge. So we popped the cork in terms of scoring. It took a penalty violation and some nice work on the part of the farm. A give to the right wing. Dan O'Connor scores at 2:21, and now we take a timeout. So again, reset, 2:21 first quarter. Dan O'Connor, man up, and we have a 1-0 lead for the visiting Wheat Ridge Farmers, and that's who we're looking at right now. See if I got to read where Pat is. Matter of fact, center and just a little left to your screen, graying at the temples. That is Coach Pat O'Connor right there talking to his gentleman, leading that huddle. Nice job, Jeremy. Thank you. Man who played the game at West Point. I talked about, made references to how much talent is out there participating on the field. The coaching staffs involved here, their resumes are stocked. Mentioned O'Connor. Ken Clausen's out there for Wheat Ridge. Played at UVA. Other side, Kevin O'Brien. Played a little bit at DU. As did his best buddy, Clark Woodard, who not only played for the Pioneers, but was an All-American at Cherry Creek High School. Nick Ocello, part of the Wheat Ridge staff, played at Notre Dame. Just a couple ticks under 2 minutes to play here at De La Salle Stadium. 1-0 lead Wheat Ridge on a Dan O'Connor goal in the man up. Mullen in white now, looking to even things up. That was a good battle by a couple of 19s trying to progress forward. That was the goaltender, Tristan Scott, all the way down into the attacking zone, getting checked by Justin Kehoe, and eventually possession awarded to Kehoe and his Farmers, and there's a missed pass, and we'll flip it back the other way. So Mullen's going to get the ball back, down a goal, about 90 seconds left here in this first quarter on Stream It Sports. Class 5A lacrosse first round action here in the state of Colorado. Thank you so much for joining us and supporting these young men. Worked hard all throughout the regular season, and now it's go time and their chance in a sudden death situation to advance in the playoffs. As you see on the scorebook, a 1-0 lead for Wheat Ridge early on here. Mullen has possession, moving forward. Luke Quigley, and all the way back around, Brock Alfred, and to the top to Aaron Boyd, who will play at the University of Denver in a couple years. He's a commit to DU and Coach Tierney's program. Not a bad place to go. They collect large hardware over at University in Evans. Mikey Pryor with it and cradling it, dodging right wing. Some good defense in front of him. It's an excellent job. That's a nice battle, too. They continue to do it off camera. Mikey Pryor and Justin Kehoe fully engaged here in the first quarter. Under 30 seconds to play in the first. Waiting for a shot attempt for Mullen. Center shot. That's a beautiful pass. Eventually the score. Evan Burgett for the Mustangs to even us up at 1-1. Nice showing of patience by the Mullen Mustangs. Burgett scores at the 19-second mark. So now we're knotted up at 1. Big battle around center X, and Wheat Ridge is going to come out with it. We're under 10 to play here in the first. Here comes a shot from long stick, and nice save, Tristan Scott. Two outstanding plays in a row on each end from the Mullen Mustangs. Evan Burgett scores to even it up 1-1. Tristan Scott with the huge save. And we take a break, all tied up here on Stream It Sports. Good show. Thank you, boys. Playoff caliber action out there. 1-1 game. Dan O'Connor, man up at 2:21 to give Wheat Ridge a 1-0 lead. Very recently, Evan Burgett at the 19-second mark to finish up here in the first to tie us up at 1-1. If you're enjoying the young athletes out here and their programs on the HD broadcast, it's all supported by organizations who like to keep their brands active by empowering local sports. Like what you see, want to be a part of what's happening, visit streamitsports.com, and I'll even open up the curtain and tell you who to talk to. That'd be Phil Mildred. Here at De La Salle Stadium in West Denver, just getting underway in the second quarter, even up 1-1. We flip sides, so now the guys in white, Mullen, advancing right to left on your screen. More of that good defense, aggressive. Wheat Ridge popping the ball loose, and you see the clear, and nicely done by Brody Bauman. Wheat Ridge reacting as if they had a score. Whistles blown. They're going to wave that off, I believe. And there was a flag on the field, too. And now a short discussion right there on the center X. Or the mound. Applause for decisive work on the part of the officials. Knew what they wanted. They have the final verdict. We respect that. And we'll keep the score 1-1 between Wheat Ridge and Mullen. As you see those shadows starting to creep up. The sun behind the press box here on the west side of the stadium. And before we finish off this evening, the boys will be playing exclusively under the lights, which are on, by the way. So after that pause, Tristan Scott coming across all on his own. There's the goaltender taking a shot. Markham with a nice read. And a big hit defensively. Caleb Ruth knocking people around. That's still Ruth battling for it. And eventually has to yield right at the center line. So Justin Kehoe had to work for it, but eventually the clear for Wheat Ridge after getting harassed by Caleb Ruth, a signee at Ohio Northern University. Personnel's in for Coach Knott. Walker Denton up there setting the offense. 1-5 there, Walker Denton. He's next level too, going to Nazareth University in New York. And he'll come and take a shot himself. I think that was off the right side of the head of the stick of Tristan Scott. We didn't hear the ping. So a nice attempt by Denton. Wheat Ridge to the middle. Can't get the shot off. And Tristan Scott able to get hold of it. Affected by the hit, Austin Haid. Back around the cage with Tristan Scott. Meanwhile, Mullen advancing. And now they will reset. Ollie Breitenwischer along with Aaron Boyd. That's Boyd, number 11, being hawked by Reagan Devine. Gets in front, takes the shot. Nice read by Mason Markham. How about the play of the goaltenders so far in this first couple of quarters? Around the 9-minute mark here in the second quarter. 1-1 game, Wheat Ridge in dark against Mullen in white. First round playoff action, shot from the farm, and that's off. Nearest, Wheat Ridge, Andrew Frerich. So the Farmers keep it, and that's Frerich working with it, being fronted by Jake Reed very nicely, and the reset up top for the Farmers. Right side shot. More of that on-ball defense that has worked so well for both these squads. Buck Thinnell forcing an errant shot there. Shout to Tom Thinnell, by the way. Mullen football coach. Buck is going to play at Colorado Mesa University out in Grand Junction. As a football player there, doing a very nice job defensively. As you see ball come out of bounds, you heard the whistle. And now we're going to have a timeout, and this is our chance to eavesdrop in on the Mullen program. See who's leading the huddle. You can't miss Clark Woodard. He's the coach right in the middle, in front of 23, Zach Johnson. Woodard, the former high school All-American and player at the University of Denver. Entering is his buddy, Kevin O'Brien, the head coach. There is head coach O'Brien right now with the shades. Kevin O'Brien's a fun production call. Younger gentleman compared to some of the more tenured coaches across the state, but I think he's a real nice fit for being an ambassador for the sport here in Colorado. A really nice fit. Of course, Chris Knott on the opposite side is a gigantic part of that. Chris Knott is a huge part of getting these broadcasts on the air for you to witness, which we will note you're watching it live right now, and you also get to watch it via replay on demand shortly after the conclusion of the broadcast. Go through streamitsports.com or through the SIS YouTube channel. Very popular for game tape, considering what time of year it is, postseason. Mullen pushing forward, having a hard time getting out of there. Good defense on Mikey Pryor, but a nicer ground ball pickup by Breitenwischer. And the Mustangs keep possession of the ball. Awaiting that shot attempt. There it comes, and a score! Aaron Boyd with the goal. And the Mullen Mustangs have taken over the lead here in the second quarter. Pretty piece of work by Aaron Boyd and his teammates. Under pressure, repeatedly being checked on the backside. Boyd got a good look. And as you saw on the replay, nice sidearm shot with authority to give his squad a 2-1 lead. At 7:32 in the second quarter, Aaron Boyd scores for Mullen to make it 2-1, guys in white, the Mullen Mustangs. So after the Dan O'Connor goal for Wheat Ridge gave the Farmers a 1-0 lead at 2:21 in the first, Evan Burgett at the back end of the first quarter, and then recently Aaron Boyd at 7:32 in the second. And now Mullen has a slim advantage at 2-1. The Farmers of Wheat Ridge have possession of the ball. Far side, that's Reagan Devine. Gets through, gets a shot off, a little bit wide to the left shoulder side of Tristan Scott, who's directing his defense. Working around the cage, and this near side of the crease is Austin Haid, one of the top goal scorers and point totalers for Wheat Ridge. Looks like the Farmers are more in system on this possession here. Looking good, of course. What matters most is can you put it in net? Wheat Ridge would like to do that to even this ball game up. Wheat Ridge down 2-1. There's a shot. It hits the dirt in front of the cage behind Tristan Scott and goes out of bounds. on the bottom right-hand corner. So picking it up quickly, Austin Haid, and that is Haid working with it. Excellent defense, Nicholas Fenwick on Austin Haid, and now back up top, Wheatridge. Reset. Under 6 minutes to play, and down a goal is Wheatridge. There's a shot, I believe that hit post, near side. Again, the left shoulder of Tristan Scott. Little upset, possession awarded to Wheatridge, so the Farmers extend this possession. Still looking and probing to get the game tire. Zach Hall's going to take a shot and trying to come across on a tough angle. Too wide. Haid will chase it down again. Looking for a cutter, that was Zach Hall. Wasn't there. Pardon me, it was Dan O'Connor coming through, cutting in front of the cage. And unable to receive well, but still no harm, at least to this possession, as Wheatridge continues. Under 5 to play. There's a shot and a score. Walker Denton has just tied the game up in the second quarter. There's the replay. Familiar look, right? Peppering that left shoulder side of Tristan Scott. Walker Denton dodges the defender, gets, I guess, control of the right wing, and goes up above the left shoulder and puts one through to even us up at 2-2 here in the second. 4:40, even strength. Walker Denton for Wheatridge to tie us up at 2-2. Live from De La Salle Stadium in West Denver. The campus of the Mullen Mustangs. The host squad had a 2-1 lead, but just recently, a couple of seconds ago, Walker Denton for Wheatridge has tied us up at 2 apiece. Under 4:20 to play in the second quarter. And Austin Haid, that's a different look for us. Haid up top for Wheatridge in the attacking zone. How many times have I called out Nicholas Fenwick being in front of somebody with the ball? Good defensive work on the part of Fenwick in this first half. Frerich, soft pick, and gets all the way around. Careful, slight stumble. Wheatridge coming from the top. 3 defenders in perfect position, thwarting the attempt of Chris McCarron to get through and perhaps find a cutter to pass to. Back behind net, Austin Haid now. He's working around that crease, and now he retreats. And I'm going to guess that's 34 again, looking him right in the eyeballs. Yep, Mr. Fenwick. Haid looking for someone to come through. And there it is. That's a tough angle. Tristan Scott with an excellent read and a nice save. Big hit there. Dan O'Connor dropping bodies. People looking for a whistle and a flag. It is not going to happen. And we continue play. About 2.5 left. Second quarter, tied up 2-2. Mullen's got the ball and looking to regain the lead. Sidestepping Mikey Pryor, a very gifted future DU player. Pryor tries to get one off, defensively getting a stick in the way. Nolan Hector. Mullen left wing, trying to push with the dodge in an isolated situation. That's not going to work out. The defense in this game so far has been incredible. Really sound. And that would fit considering where we're at in the season. This is playoffs. Really good teams, elite players out there on the field. We're in the first round here. As you see that shot attempt, Mason Markham made the save but didn't know where the ball went. The crowd groaned. I think that people in the stands thought that got through. Credit Markham with the save there. Both the goaltenders have been outstanding.
Player safety! Player safety! Yeah, player safety!
You can hear the fans through the crowd mics starting to react to some of the physical play out there on the field. Still no whistles. We've had a man advantage, one for each squad. Only one team has scored in the man-up. That was Dan O'Connor for Wheat Ridge on the back end of the first quarter, which gave Wheat Ridge a 1-0 lead. Since then, goals by Evan Burgett, Aaron Boyd for Mullen. Recently, Walker Denton for Wheat Ridge. We're tied up 2-2. Mullen has possession. As you see, trying to battle through is the Mustangs. There's a shot and a score. Getting around the defender, Caleb Ruth putting one in. And the Mullen Mustangs are back on top here in the second quarter. You got a good look at that on the replay. Strong defense, knocked the ball loose. Quick ground ball pickup. Caleb Ruth almost uses the carnage in the bodies as a high pick and a screen. Gets around and able to whip it through. Caleb Ruth at the 27-second mark in the second quarter. And Mullen is up 3-2. Meanwhile, Thunnell gaining the ground ball and getting across center line. Here comes Buck Thunnell. And a shot and a score. Buck Thunnell. Goals within 19 seconds of each other. The largest lead of the game for either squad. What a great piece of work there. After the face-off, Buck Thunnell chases ball down, picks it up himself, advances all the way through and able to get one in. A 4-2 lead for the Mullen Mustangs. Their home crowd becoming more pleased as we are 5 seconds left, roughly, here in the second quarter. So a quick timeout. You see Wheat Ridge regroup. They're going to talk about it. And there's another look at the Thunnell goal. Saw the defender getting in the play. I thought defense knocked the ball out, or at least we're going to disrupt that shot, kind of like we've seen throughout the game. Not the case. It was Thunnell with kind of a subtle move to drop the head of his stick and able to get that really short-armed sidearm shot off and solving Mason Markham, and a 4-2 lead for Mullen. Final 3 seconds of the second quarter coming up after the Wheat Ridge timeout. See Zach Hall for Wheat Ridge across the way. He'll start with the ball, waiting for the go. Zach Hall's fun to watch. We'll see if he advances and takes that long shot. Fans reacted to that. That was a nice shot, considering. From way up there. Mullen fans offering applause for their guys. Couple of goals in the last 30 seconds of the second quarter. Mullen has taken a 2-goal lead. We'll take a halftime break, come back for a moment and give you the scoring summary here from De La Salle Stadium. Halftime, just before dusk here at De La Salle Stadium, West Denver. The home crew, Mullen Mustangs, with a 4-2 lead after erupting in the last 30 seconds of the second quarter. Marty Cesario here for a brief halftime segment to recap what we witnessed in those first couple of quarters. And we'll start off with the Wheat Ridge Farmers after a lengthy delay in scoring output for either squad. In a man-up situation, Dan O'Connor with that shot, able to get one through and solve Tristan Scott, which is a rarity here in the first half. Dan O'Connor at 2:21 in the first quarter, man up, able to get the scoring started here in this 5A first-round matchup. Mullen able to even things up on the very end of the first quarter, where you see Evan Burgett able to get one through. Number 10 working with the ball. See, receiving right there in front of the crease and popping it through over the shoulder of Mason Markham to even things up at 1-1, and that's how we finished the first quarter. Progressing over into the second, Mullen had a little bit of momentum going at the 7:32 mark. Aaron Boyd, that's the shot right there, getting it through the stick side of Mason Markham. So Aaron Boyd at 7:32 and a 2-1 lead, the first lead of the game for the Mullen Mustangs. Walker Denton says, I want to even things up. And so number 1-5 gets a little work done on his own, dodges defender, and then goes up high over the goaltender. So it was 2-2 at 4:40 in the second quarter, and then the eruption that I had earlier referred to. Under 30 seconds to play. Here's the work of Caleb Ruth after defenders popping bodies, knocking ball loose. Caleb Ruth picks up the ball and is able to get it through and score. There's Caleb. Near side here. Caleb is 21. Picks up the ball off the ground in one motion and release. Goes low, and late reaction by the goaltender, and a 3-2 lead at the 27-second mark. And then nice job on the face-off. Nobody won the face-off, but good piece of work by Big Buck Thinnell. Ground ball, he goes and chases it down, and Thinnell on his own getting through defenders and getting a short-armed sidearm shot through the left side of the goaltender and scores. So 2 goals within 19 seconds of each other in the final 30 seconds of the second quarter built that lead you see on the score graphic. It is 4-2 Mullen here in this round 1 playoff game in Class 5A in Colorado. But we do have darkness coming and another 2 quarters from De La Salle Stadium coming soon. Lights are on, getting a little darker. Center graphic you see. It's Mullen against Wheat Ridge. Round 1 action here in the Class 5A state playoffs. in the state of Colorado. A 4-2 lead for Mullen. We are on their turf, on their campus. They win the face-off immediately as we just get underway here in the third quarter with possession of the ball. For a moment there, Trey O'Dean, the primary face-off specialist, doing a real nice job there. 2 goals in the final 30 seconds of the second quarter built this lead for the Mustangs, largest lead for either squad in a very entertaining, tightly contested defensive battle. As you see, a shot from up front and a goal here in the third quarter. 2-2 gets the job done. There he is, Mikey Pryor for Mullen. 32 seconds into the third quarter. Perhaps the most notable name out on the field. There's 22, right wing. And the reaction from the goaltender. Mikey Pryor scores for Mullen at 11:28. Now 7 different players collectively have scored in this game. A 5-2 lead for Mullen after the Mikey Pryor goal at 11:28 in the third. And Mullen getting a little bit of that momentum. You put them together. That's one thing that's great and unique about lacrosse. It's make it, take it. You can win that face-off adjacent to a goal, and that's exactly what Mullen has done. Mikey Pryor, 11:28, third quarter. Now a 3-goal lead for the Mullen Mustangs. I asked Coach O'Brien what makes Mikey Pryor so good. Up front, there's a shot. Is that Pryor again? I see a 2. We'll wait for the turn. It's a 21, and that's Caleb Ruth with his second goal of the game. Caleb Ruth, 50 seconds after the Pryor goal. Now Mullen is on a roll here in this third quarter. We're just underway, a minute and a half roughly into the third. 2 consecutive goals by the Mustangs. 4 goals in a row unanswered overall for the guys in white, and that'd be Mullen. Man down, ground ball pickup attempt. That's not going to happen, but eventually coming out with it, the long stickman, Dante Labardi for the Wheat Ridge Farmers. So the 10:38 mark, Caleb Ruth, goal number 2 for Ruth. He's the only player with multiple goals in this fairly low-scoring lacrosse game. Wheat Ridge in the dark jerseys have work to do. Down 4. There's a shot and picked up nicely by Tristan Scott. No, it's blocked. And on the run, clearing on his own for Mullen, Tristan Scott. We've seen both goaltenders be very aggressive, coming across and clearing on their own. Mullen up 4 goals, have possession. Shot blocked nicely, giving body Travis Torline. Working the right side here. Luke Quigley finds the cutter. That's Brock Alford, who has his second goal of the game.
Number 10, Evan Bigette.
Correct myself, Brock Alford's first goal of the contest. We'll give Quigley the assist. Now Mullen's on a roll. 9:17 mark, Brock Alford for Mullen. Now makes it 5 consecutive goals unanswered for the Mullen Mustangs. And Mullen looking for the face-off win. Not going to happen. Ground ball picked up. Good piece of work there. Nice hustle on the part of Carson Capps for Wheat Ridge. So Pryor, Ruth, Alfred here in the third quarter. We're just under 9 minutes left in the third at De La Salle Stadium in West Denver. The home team with a sizable lead. Some good defense there from Long Stickman. Getting a nice round of applause, Luke Knockhazel. Knockhazel going to play at Ursinus College in Pennsylvania. One of the many next-level players that are out there on the field for both these squads. Some more problems receiving passes for Mullen. Maybe settling a little bit with a 5-goal lead. We always footnote, remember they're teenagers. Element of surprise at any given moment, right? Far side, Alfred probing, eventually gives it up and reset up top for Mullen. Trying to battle his way through for a moment there. That was Luke Quigley again, recently with the assist to Alfred. Waiting for that shot. Well, that shot looked real good, but a nice stop from Mason Markham, and I think a little help perhaps from the post. Mullen laying off a little bit. Second quarter, couldn't help but notice attackmen pressing as Wheat Ridge would try to clear. Man to the knees, and eventually an unforced error for Wheat Ridge on that possession. So now Mullen will take over. Jake Reed will play at Cornell next year. My understanding, he's going to walk on. We've called Jake Reed's name a few times. Meanwhile, 5-goal lead for Mullen here in the first round of the Class 5A playoffs in Colorado. Big night across the state as the march to the big stadium gets started. Nice skip shot and a better save from Mason Markham. That was another pretty shot, came off the stick of Aaron Boyd, who has a goal in this game in the second quarter. But Markham picked that one up as we await the darkness. Still sitting here at dusk. The lights are on. We've lost the shadows. It's now straight up 8 o'clock Mountain Time. And about 6 minutes, 15 seconds left in the third quarter here in this first round playoff game. Ball still alive and outside of the circle. And then a big battle for it. Some playoff-worthy exchanges. I got you, Brody and Evan. Nice one-bounce GB from Brock Alfred. And now Mullen's going to set up again. 2-2, that's Michael Pryor. The note that Kevin O'Brien shared about Mikey Pryor, as you see Pryor take that shot, and a nice save from Mason Markham, but Pryor, Kevin O'Brien, when I asked him, why is that guy so good? Speaking of Mikey Pryor, he said, quote, "It's crazy for a high school kid. He's never seen anything like it. Mikey Pryor wins every sprint in practice. He looks coaches right in the eyeballs. He's always working away from the game. Even in the weight room." He was citing how Mikey Pryor can go 270 on the bench press, rep it 5 times. So he's putting work into becoming a better athlete physically. And then you know what some of the rewards are. You get asked to go play for a program that wins national championships like the University of Denver. Mikey Pryor has a goal to start off this second half back at the 11:28 mark. That made it 5-2. Since then, goals by Ruth and Alfred. It's a 7-2 lead for Mullen. Thought for a moment
Loose ball push.
the talented defenseman, the sophomore Nick Fenwick, was going to clear as we look at a replay. There's that shot, and thought that was a nice piece of work releasing it, Aaron Boyd, but Mason Markham with a good save. So Wheat Ridge will keep possession on the north side of the field here at De La Salle Stadium. Down 5 goals, much work to do. About 4.5 left in the third. A push from behind. I thought that was going to turn out to be an advantageous situation for number 2, and Dan O'Connor right in front of the crease. Got a shot off, but unable to get to the twine and score a goal on that one. Still a 5-goal spread, and we await the go whistle from the official. Toss over the top to Tristan Scott. Jake Reed on his own, get bumped once, able to pick it up. I believe the crowd wanted Jake Reed to take a shot at it. It's fun to root for those defensemen, isn't it? Long stick, go ahead, wing it. Mullen can use patience with a 5-goal lead here in the third quarter. About 3.5 left in the third period. Another shot coming through, and I believe another block by one of the defensemen. We've seen that so many times.
Wide controlled, closest at the end line by Brock Apple.
.310 left in the third. 7-2 lead Mullen with the ball. That's Aaron Boyd. Right in front, finds a center. Did it get across the goal line? Yes, hands in the air, and that's a score for the Mullen Mustangs. Caleb Ruth now has a hat trick.
Assist to number 11, Aaron Boyd.
Got the confirmation you may have heard over the PA, Coach Pat Garland, working public address. Caleb Ruth at 2:59 scores for Mullen. That's his third goal in this contest. And we'll give credit to Aaron Boyd for charging through. Crowd waiting for a shot that came off the stick of Trey O'Dean. Unable to get through, and now a ground ball and a big battle for it, coming out with it. For a moment, that was Colin O'Brien, but then we had the whistles. We're about 2:40 left in the third quarter. Now a timeout for the Wheat Ridge Farmers, and we'll kind of look in and read the nonverbal and see the physical exchanges with Coach Christ Knott and his extremely talented Wheat Ridge Farmers lacrosse team. That's Coach Knott right in the middle there. He's the one doing the talking. Big fan of Chris Knott. Again, very pivotal in using his resources to bring you these types of broadcasts. I think it shows some of his character and his passion and belief of the sport here in the state of Colorado. He's a coach, so he's not going to take any credit, not in front of our faces, but my read is Chris Knott's not only showcasing Wheat Ridge lacrosse, he's trying to put kids from all over the state on digital television. Which, if you are enjoying this, how can you not? We're flowing at the 760 HD. As the crew barks in my ear, hey, prima donna, throughput, zeros and ones. It's 720. We're on the 720 BPS on the SIS. If you're enjoying that, it's all supported by organizations that like to have their brands connected to supporting programs involving these talented young athletes. If you want to be a part of that, contact streamitsports.com and talk to Phil Mildren. He will help you out with the technology a lot better than I will. Wheat Ridge, after the timeout, needs to help themselves. Down 6 goals here deep into the third quarter. A shot with a tough angle from the far, far right wing, coming off the stick of Brody Bauman. Unable to get through, save Tristan Scott, and a quick clear on the part of Mullen. And that's Mikey Pryor pushing it down lower along that goal line and going to get the ball, Evan Burkett, and then he gets hit from the backside and then loses possession. Under 2 to play in the third. Mullen establishing a sizable lead, up 6 goals. And there's my man Justin Kehoe going to get the ball. Stat stuffer in such a critical way, collecting those ground balls. Lots of the GB. Now the attackmen need to do some work for the farm. Still a lot of time left. You can trust both squads are talented. They can put points on the board. Here's Wheat Ridge working this near side. Looking for a cutter to pass to. It doesn't happen. That's excellent defense on the part of Mullen. So the reset up top. There's a shot coming off the stick of Reagan Devine. It's wide. Nearest awarded to Wheat Ridge. And Austin Haid will do what he does. And there's a shot and a score for Wheat Ridge. One at a time, right? And a goal for the Wheat Ridge Farmers. Get a read on that. 1-5, Walker Denton with the goal. We'll look at the replay. The nice receive. I'm staring through the net. Zach Hall is awarded the goal. And Wheat Ridge wins the face-off, looking to capitalize, maintain the momentum. So the goal awarded to Zach Hall at the 46 mark here in the third quarter. Wheat Ridge now down 5, and there's a shot on the part of Dan O'Connor. Doesn't get through, but Wheat Ridge is going to keep it. Clock's ticking, under 10 to play. Now 5, and there's a shot and through. I believe that's a goal. Yes, it is. Nice piece of work on the part of Zach Hall, getting it through. Second consecutive goal for Zach Hall. Two goals in a row by Zach Hall. Now the lead is trimmed down to merely 4, with 3 ticks left on the clock. And the horn. Wheat Ridge needed that. They scored a couple of goals, so now it's much more manageable. We'll see if the Farmers can erupt in the fourth quarter. Down 8-4. Or will Mullen hold its lead and advance to the second round of the playoffs? More coming up from De La Salle in a moment. Return to action at De La Salle Stadium in West Denver. First round action in the 5A playoffs in Colorado. Face off. Victorious is Wheat Ridge. Darkness coming upon us. 2 goals by Zach Hall at the end of the third quarter. Trim the deficit for Wheat Ridge to just 4 goals, and now the Farmers have possession. Trey Sayers working with it, and a reset up top. In the attacking zone, there is Zach Hall, very talented young man. I like Zach because he comes and shakes my hand when we do events involving his program. Call him a front porch kid as we look at Wheat Ridge take a shot. Good defense on the part of Buck Thinnell. I think he got a stick on the attempted shot. Near side, Austin Haid. We've seen him work from that X position a lot. Ooh, behind the back shot, and that is a pretty highlight. Zach Hall has scored 3 goals in the last 2 minutes of real time. Look at this. Haid, feed, behind the back, over the shoulder, put it in the twine. The 11-10 mark in the third quarter. Zach Hall, he now has the hat trick, joining Caleb Ruth for Mullen. Zach Hall has scored the last 3 goals in this game for the Wheat Ridge Farmers. It's getting more interesting. 3 consecutive and unanswered, all by number 6, Zach Hall. Hall unofficially 42 goals on the season now, including this first round playoff game. Somebody needed to step up, right? Plenty of talent on the field. Raising his hand and his cross, number 6 for Wheat Ridge, Zach Hall. 3 goals in a row, 11-10 mark, fourth quarter. Zach Hall's most recent goal, his third, to make it 8-5. The crowd chatter has slowed down just a little bit because Mr. Zach Hall had something to say. Still work to do. The spread remains 3 in favor of the guys in the white jerseys, the Mullen Mustangs. Can Coach Kevin O'Brien's squad hold on and advance? Currently with an 8-5 lead, Wheat Ridge has possession. There is Hall again up top. Getting chased by Colin O'Brien. Now an unforced error, and possession will be awarded to Mullen. Buck Thinnell bringing it up. Thinnell has a goal in the game. Defense knocked the ball loose, and getting the ground ball was Zach Hall again. Hall finds Austin Haid coming through about 5 yards in front of the goal crease, but a missed shot. Hall's going to keep it though, and Wheat Ridge will continue, down 3 goals. Roughly 9 minutes left in this first round playoff game. Walker Denton trying to get through, and he does. Walker Denton scores. The deficit is now just 2 goals. Walker Denton, you see in the replay, dodging in an isolated situation, gets by. I thought that angle was way too radical. I am wrong. Walker Denton has the skills and gets it through. It's now an 8-6 game. 4 consecutive and unanswered for the Wheat Ridge Farmers. 9:07 mark. Walker Denton for Wheat Ridge. That is Denton's second goal of the game. Wheat Ridge is a program that may not have as much resources as some other programs, and Coach Knott concedes that they've had troubles in fourth quarters where he can tell they just don't have the depth. They'll be tied up 8-8 in the fourth and then just kind of lose their steam. You're seeing that is not the case this evening, where Wheat Ridge has found a little something in the tank. Down 8-2 with about 3 minutes left in the third quarter. 4 consecutive goals. 2 saves by Mason Markham and a whistle blown. Wheat Ridge is definitely alive with about 8 minutes left in the fourth of this round 1 game in the Class 5A playoffs. And what Wheat Ridge has done is not only compelled the stands to stop chattering, but now cheering. And there's the reward. A shot and a score for Mullen. Caleb Ruth now has 4 in the game. Caleb Ruth is a showman. He just needed some inspiration from his fans. He got that, and then he got one on the board. Caleb Ruth at 7:57 in the fourth quarter. Very timely after 4 unanswered goals by their opponents. And a face-off win. Pushing up into the attacking zone comes Mullen.
Mullen back on the attack. 7:44 remains in the game.
So the Rust Belt is going to be pleased the next 4 years with Caleb Ruth going to Ohio Northern. 4 goals in this game. A 9-6 lead for Mullen with the ball. About 7:20 left in the game. Across the way, slide slip. Aaron Boyd able to get back up onto his pins. Near side here, Luke Quigley. He's on his own. And then it's popped loose by good defense, Justin Kehoe. Long stickman looking for someone, a little help. Eventually finds it. Successful clear by Wheat Ridge. And see stepping in is Zach Hall. Hall with 3 recent goals to provide a surge for his Wheat Ridge squad to get back into this game. Still plenty of time left, about 6.5 on the clock as Hall trots to that X spot. It's Walker Denton working with the ball on his own. Elects to take the shot, stick side, a little bit off, nearest Wheat Ridge, they'll keep it. Zach Hall. Hall in front. And more great defense from Fenwick, and eventually the score, a ground ball picked up by Austin Haid. He gets it through before the goaltender can react. And I'll correct myself. You want to guess who got that goal? Number 6, Zach Hall.
Zach Hall with the goal, number 6. 6:01 in the fourth period.
After great defensive work, thwarts the shot attempt. Ball picked up by Zach Hall. He wastes no time. Goes low to the ankles and gets one through at the 6:01 mark. Back to a 2-goal game here in the 5A playoffs. Zach Hall at 6:01, his 4th. Matching Caleb Ruth, who has 4 for Mullen. The Mustangs hold the 2-goal lead with about 5:45 remaining.
Let's go, Mullen!
Some great MLAX entertainment here at De La Salle Stadium. I have not sat down, I'm starting to realize, the entire game. I think I think my hind end did touch the seat during halftime. Entertaining performances by these guys out there as Mullen pushes through, can't get a shot off. And now they do, and it's another goal. Ruth and Hall are in a tug of war on the scoreboard. Caleb Ruth scores again. Caleb Ruth now has 5 goals in this contest. 5:07 mark. Caleb Ruth, goal number 5 individually. Now double digits for the team. And Mullen back up to a 3-goal lead, a little bit more comfortable. Face-off win for Wheat Ridge. Under 5 left. Shot stopped, Tristan Scott. And a quick clear on the feet of Mullen, but good defense knocks the ball out. Carson Capps, after Mullen looked good trying to clear, Capps forces the ground ball situation, and now the whistle, and we're gonna have a timeout. Looking at my scoring summary going back to the third quarter, Ruth, Hall. What's Walker Denton doing in there? Ruth, Hall, Ruth. Some great performances on the part of number 6 in the dark jerseys. And of course, 2-1, wearing the white. Caleb Ruth with 5 goals in this first round playoff game. Somewhere buried in there is Caleb Ruth. As we look in, the coaching staff, Clark Woodard. Tall blonde man right there, talking it up. Coach O'Brien's off to the left. 2 teammates from their days at DU. Coach O'Brien says actually the guys joke around and say, we're a married couple. That kind of chemistry with not only players but coaching staffs proves rewarding. You can see that with squads earning seeds in the playoffs. And right now in a position to advance. Speaking of the Mullen Mustangs with the 3-goal lead after the timeout and under 5 to play. Mullen has possession, up 3 in the opposing zone. Trey O'Dean on that far wing, pushing forward. O'Dean perhaps takes one to the head. Whistle blown, an off pass, fall to the ground, and we do have a flag on the field. You see the official going to chase it down. I think he pulled out his flag and threw it behind him, so that shot to the head will be called an infraction. And we'll have a man-up situation with a 3-goal lead for the Mullen Mustangs in white. Twice Zach Hall brought Wheat Ridge to within 2 goals. The most recent Caleb Ruth goal, exactly 1 minute earlier, has reestablished that lead to 3 goals for Mullen, and now they're in the man advantage with just under 4 to play. There's a shot low, nice save, Mason Markham. Almost at that point, right, where you can't let any more go through. Wheat Ridge has shown outstanding perseverance, at one point being down 6 goals, showing what a pedigree program they are, a program that does have a state championship on their resume under head coach Christ Knott. Nobody wants consolation prizes, of course. But we've been impressed as Coach Knott and his crew take another time out.
Just under 10 seconds remaining in the penalty.
Mullen's up 3 as we take this break with about 3.5 left in this round 1 game. I'm checking Twitter to look around in Class 5A. I see Grandview's got a 5-goal lead in their 5A playoff game. Arapahoe with a 12-6 win over Kent Denver in the 5A first round. Scrolling through as best I can. So there's a couple of scores for you. Grandview up. Arapahoe has advanced. Air Academy in Class 4A has knocked off the defending state champions, the Aspen Skiers, 10-9. And we'll return to the action here on that beautiful high-definition broadcast you're witnessing with Stream It Sports. Under 3 to play here. Wheat Ridge has it, but they do not have the lead, down 3. Wide shot. And a late reaction by Nicholas Fenwick, talented sophomore. Didn't expect it to go that wide. And Fenwick will go chase down Austin Hay. Want to thank sponsors, Applewood Golf Course, just east of the Table Mountains in Golden on 32nd Avenue. Like those rates, under $30. I'll take that. Denver Tux Formal Wear, prom and postseason events, they're the place. 27th and Youngfield in Lakewood. Kickin' Wings, dine-in and delivery, just north of I-70 at 50th and Kipling. Shout to the folks from Warrior Lacrosse also. A shot coming from Wheat Ridge. Walker Denton can't get it through. Read well by the goaltender, Tristan Scott. About 2 minutes left. Mullen trying to clear, splitting the defenders. Nice piece of work on the part of Mikey Pryor. Can the Wheat Ridge Farmers erupt for 3 goals to tie this thing up and send us to overtime? We'll start with that. A goal for Wheat Ridge. Andrew Frerich. See the body language of Frerich. He looks exhausted. But found some more to get that one through. 13, Frerich scores at 1:32 in the 4th. Wheat Ridge within 2, about 90 seconds left here in this round 1 game. Mullen wins the face-off, though. And the clock continues to tick. We'll await the 1-minute marker from public address, which is coming up to us. There it is. Mullen keeps it. The tackman sent to the ground. Long stickman for Wheat Ridge has it. Step 1 clear. There it is. And here comes the Wheat Ridge Farmers with about 40 seconds left in the game. Got to get shots off. Down 2. Good defense backside. Ground ball pickup by the Farmers. And another one. Give some love to Aaron Boyd, who knocked it loose. And Now the crowd's reacting. Under 20 to play. Mullen's looking good. Buck the Nell going football style. There's some Armac beef at the end of a lacrosse game in the playoffs. 5 seconds left. Evan Burgett's going to kill up the clock. There's the horn and the celebration on your screen as Jeremy pans over to the guys in white. There they are, celebrating their round 1 victory for Coach Kevin O'Brien's crew. Caleb Ruth with 5 goals. Mullen Mustangs with the 10-8 win. And they're moving on to the second round of the Class 5A playoffs in Colorado. We'll take a quick break, give you a scoring summary, and then wrap things up in a moment from De La Salle Stadium.
Drive carefully on the way home. Thanks.
Players exchanging respectful handshakes. A lot of effort put out there on the field. The guys in white on their home campus able to get through with a 10-8 victory. Congratulations to the Mullen Mustangs. There's a nice look right there. Not just handshakes, but also hugs. As you see that score from Phil and his crew. The final, a 2-goal victory here in round 1 for the Mullen Mustangs. As I put my tweet out, certainly would have to mention Mr. Caleb Ruth for Mullen. What a performance on the part of the future player for Ohio Northern University, Caleb Ruth, who had 5 goals in this game for the Mullen Mustangs. Outstanding performance on the part of Ruth. And then in the second half, what a joy it was to watch Ruth and Zach Hall battle it out. Just 2 talented players trading goals repeatedly in that second half. But in the end, it was Mullen able to come out victoriously to take the victory. Let's do the scoring summary real quickly for you. Phil Mildren will share a couple of highlights. The scoring started off, took us about 10 minutes to get things going on the board. Dan O'Connor in a man-up situation scored at 2:21 in the first quarter. Evan Burkett evened it up with just about 20 seconds left in the first to tie things up at 1-1, and that's how we finished up the first quarter. In the second, Mullen took their first lead at the 7:32 mark with an Aaron Boyd goal. That was to make it 2-1 Mullen. But then Wheatridge quickly had the answer. Walker Denton scored his first goal of the game. There's a look at Denton scoring over the shoulder of Tristan Scott there. We were at 2-2 at that point and enjoying the heck out of this playoff lacrosse game. And then came Mullen, erupting, starting with Caleb Ruth and his first goal of the game for him at 27 seconds left in the second quarter, scoring to make it 3-2. Then Buck Thinnell with a nice piece of work, picking up a ground ball at center line, going all the way forward and able to whip one past Mason Markham. 4-2 lead at the half for the Mullen Mustangs. That momentum continued once we got out of the intermission. Mikey Pryor at 11:28, so just 32 seconds left or going into the third quarter. Mikey Pryor scores a goal to make it 5-2. Then at 10:38, Caleb Ruth scored his second goal of the game. At 10:38, it was 6-2 Mullen. They were on a roll, and they would continue. About a minute later, Brock Alford, number 13, scores to make it 7-2. And then Caleb Ruth again to get the hat trick, makes it a 6-goal spread, and Mullen clearly on a roll. The very end of the third quarter, Zach Hall came into play. The crowd was starting to lose interest, but Zach Hall ignited his Wheat Ridge Farmers squad, scoring with 46 seconds left, then scoring again with just 6 seconds left in the third quarter. Zach Hall with 2 goals with under a minute left in the third to make it 8-4. Mr. Hall would continue in the third quarter. 50 seconds in that final quarter, Zach Hall scored again, his third, to make it 8-5. And then his teammate, Walker Denton, would join in the mix. At 9:07 in the fourth quarter, Denton scores his second of the game. Suddenly, it's just a 2-goal deficit for Wheat Ridge. Enter Caleb Ruth back into the contest and the scoring productivity. At 7:57, Ruth scores his fourth. Mullen lead back up to 3. Zach Hall with the answer, as you see the Ruth goal right there. That will follow with a highlight of Zach Hall scoring his fourth of the game, all in the second half. There's a pretty piece of work. Left-handed shot. Hall gets Wheat Ridge back to within 2 at about 6 minutes left. But from there, Mr. Ruth again, right up front, over the shoulder, into the twine. Ruth with his 5th goal to make it 10-7. And Wheat Ridge able to add one as they try to get the comeback. Andrew Frerich right there gets one through at about a minute and a half left. Wondered if the Farmers had anything else, and it was more the Mullen defense that disallowed it. And that's how we finish. 2-goal win, final 10-8. Congratulations to Kevin O'Brien and his Mullen Mustangs, who will move on to the second round of the Class 5A playoffs. Of course, the goal is to meet at the Broncos Stadium on Colfax, I-25, in about 11 days for a right to play for a state championship. Big applause for the Wheat Ridge Farmers. Played an aggressive schedule, played everybody, all their losses, including tonight, against 5A elite programs or top California squads. Unable to get it done this evening, but certainly you have to respect the efforts here this season of Coach Christ Knott and his Wheat Ridge Farmers. A very fun crew to watch, entertaining lacrosse program to witness out there on the field. But tonight, it was the Mullen Mustangs. Nice piece of work there. Love the effort. Must shout out the sophomore Nicholas Fenwick once again, repeatedly compelling me to call his name out for doing great defensive work, specifically around the crease. And much love, of course, to Caleb Ruth. What an outstanding evening on digital television for 21. 5 goals. Live on TV. Technically across the globe, right? Nice work for Ruth, and again, congratulations to the Mustang. Want to thank, again, participating supporters, Applewood Golf Course, Denver Tux Formalwear, and Kickin' It Wings. Want to thank executive producer Phil Mildren, his crew, including Jeremy Davies, Alex Wines with technical direction. I'm Marty Cesario. Thanks so much to the folks on the campus of Mullen High School for their hospitality. You see the final score, 10-8. Mullen moves on to round 2. Good night from West Denver.